Hi there, SixofQueens here. And something has to change because this isn't working. The idea that ended up becoming this channel was born from watching other content creators over many years who, like I am right now, had decided to undertake some kind of self-improvement project, losing weight, learning an instrument, learning a language, learning to draw, any of that kind of stuff. And generally would present it as they had filmed themselves over the course of a year and then cut all of that up and would put together a 10 to 15 minute progress and highlight video. Tend to be very popular. Understand why. They get to the point. They show a nice, easy to follow linear progression. See someone start off from a place that you maybe recognize yourself as, and then end up, a year later, super proficient, or having achieved largely their goal and meant to be really inspirational. And it can be. But I often found that when I was watching videos like that and I saw them go through the progression, not only progress through this project, but the side project of making this video about it and posting it on YouTube, which before you start uploading videos can seem like a whole thing that is so beyond you. Any one of those projects can feel beyond you. And for me, when I would see content like that, well, I got the little twinkling of inspiration in the back of my head, probably, ultimately forming this idea and this project. The overwhelming sense that I would have is that that's great for them, but I'm not that kind of person. I can't do that. Obviously, they are a different, unique kind of individual from who I am. They took on two projects, any one of which has been or seemed insurmountable to me up to this point. And then they made it seem so easy and so seamless. In that 10 minutes that you get to see, it's all wonderfully laid out, and you see all of the great hits and the highlights, and the conclusion at the end is that they're successful, because why the hell would they put up the video if they failed? No one's gonna make a progress video that ends in them fucking failing at the end. No one's gonna do that. So as I kind of would have those feelings wrestle in the back of my head over and over again, I just had the notion of, wouldn't it be interesting if someone put one up where a person basically recorded and showed everything, right? In the case of what I'm doing, right, as an example, learning an instrument. It wasn't just a 10 or 15 minute video of, here's a few seconds from day one, here's a few seconds from day seven, here's a few seconds from day, and, show them go on and on and on, but just live recorded all of their practice sessions and just uploaded that content. And the first thought was, no one's going to watch that shit. Practice sessions are long, disjointed. I mean, they don't have to be long, but they can become long. Though even if they're not, they are disjointed, monotonous, tedious. For learning to play an instrument, it's a lot of sounds of people mishitting keys and misplaying melodies, and it's just jarring and halting, and it's not even a good thing to have on in the background if you're doing something else. So the thought then evolved a little further into, okay, well, keep that idea, but make the videos watchable. And that's where the problem started. Because one of the things that I told myself at the start of this was, I need to keep my priorities straight. All right? The most important thing is learning to play this and getting the videos out. Of secondary importance, almost skipping down to a level of tertiary importance, was the success of the channel, right? Getting subscribers, getting view numbers, all of that kind of stuff. That's secondary or tertiary, and it should not ever overtake the actual learning of the instrument. And it was about a month and a half ago where I finally admitted that I've been lying to myself for the better part of a year. Actually, over a year. And the performance of the channel had become more important. Actually, let me not lie again. From the start, it had been more important in my head than actually doing this. You know, trying to use it as an escape for a general life that I'm not very satisfied with and don't have really any hope or prospects or ambitions for the future. And I just was looking for an escape, you know? And why not try the option that a lot of people have fallen into available to me, online stardom. Not only that, online stardom as a motivational figure. Holy shit, that's the ticket. But as much as I was trying to lie to myself, and rather successfully, I might add, I couldn't overcome the reality of the disparity between what I was actually spending my time on. See, in a week where I'm practicing 2 days a week, which I've been doing for the past few months, when I am actually practicing during a week, I'd be working in here anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes. That's including usually roughly a 30-minute practice session and 10-15 minutes to record an intro and an outro. So take 2 of those sessions a week. That's about hour to an hour and a half of actual practicing, of actually doing the work of learning to play this instrument, which is supposed to be the primary goal. Contrast that with how long it takes me to turn that amount of footage into a video that is uploaded with description, edits, thumbnail, all of that. That process generally took between 15 and 20 hours. Now look, I'm sure that part of that has to do with the fact that, you know, I'm slow as hell and working with underpowered equipment and a free video editing software. But it's a poor carpenter that blames their tools. And I think even if I had everything incredibly optimized, it would still probably take me about 10 hours, because there are some things that just come down to the fact that I'm very particular about where cuts take place, and I have to position where transitions are occurring, down to the frame, to try 2 forward, okay, 1 back, play it through. That didn't actually fit with the timing of everything coming before it. That just fit in isolation in that moment. So I have to go back and change it again, and then having to fully render videos before I can do checks through them to look for problems. All kinds of mess. But the big takeaway is doing all of that stuff, all of that extra editing, all the portions where I'm fast forwarding through pieces of music, the extended intro sections, at least the outro is pretty standard. I'd like to keep that going forward. But these extended intros, all these cuts to try and make it more visually interesting, none of those are keeping with the goal. In fact, it works opposite the goal, because there are large portions of each video where I'm just fast forwarding through. And yeah, sometimes, although I've done this less often of late because it takes for fucking ever, I'll try and intersperse those sections with montage clips of me screwing up during practice, the understanding hopefully being that most of the rest of the session kind of sounds like that. That's why I'm fast forwarding through it. But it's still counter to the goal, or at least the goal I told myself I was going for. But it's not counter to the goal of trying to make watchable videos. But all of that is caring about the progress of the channel first and pouring all of the time, in order of magnitude more time, into trying to make the channel succeed just works to burn me out. And it's part of the reason, not all of the reason, but it's definitely a big contributing factor to why I so frequently have these long break periods. Because not only is practicing itself unpleasant, I do mean it when I say learning sucks. I find the exercise of being in here and doing this to be physically and mentally unpleasant. Then add on top of that having to spend 15 to 20 hours editing a video every week. For what purpose? I mean, I was originally doing it because I wanted to try and make sure that they were watchable, but that's not been happening. If I look at, my metrics, most people, like most any other probably creator, tune in right at the start, everything's up here, and then just down, just straight like that. So it's not like once people actually find it, they find the content interesting to watch anyway. So why am I spending 15 hours, 20 hours a week doing it? At the expense of actual progress at learning this. Because the channel could disappear at any time. And if it does, and I don't at least know how to play this and read music, it's going to be kind of a side benefit. Then what the hell was this for? So taking all that into account, I've made a decision that the old way that I was making videos isn't sustainable, and it's not in keeping with my original goal. So starting from my next session, rather than compile an entire week's worth of sessions into one video, every practice session is going to get its own dedicated video and upload. 2, the editing is going to be greatly reduced. Not zero, but far less, and what I actually show is going to be far more inclusive of what the sessions are actually like. Don't know how that's going to go, but it's going to be more honest. And it still seems like the kind of content that is completely unwatchable, but no one's watching anyway, so fuck it, why not? Hey there, just wanted to interrupt myself for a second. While I know that I have been saying that nobody has been watching, I do want to be very clear that I don't literally mean nobody. There have been definitely people who have stopped in. Some people have left some really encouraging comments on several videos. I've had a few people subscribe, which no one has to do, and it's fantastic if anyone feels that what they're seeing is, deserving of it, and I'm definitely grateful to anybody who has, and to one individual in particular who I've been in correspondence with on and off since almost the start, gentleman who is doing much the same thing that I am, just much more successfully and much more honestly. So you know who you are, and I just wanted to give a big thanks to you for all the encouragement that you've given and all the inspiration. All of that out of the way, let's get back to me whining about stuff for a few minutes. At least I'll have more to look back on. And hopefully, even with putting more videos up, it should really reduce the amount of time that it takes. And maybe this more cut back approach will, speak to some more people. Or maybe not. Maybe whether it actually speaks to anybody or not doesn't matter. What actually matters is I accomplished this, which is already hard enough to do. Because learning still sucks.